So yeah, all right, guys. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Today we'll be discussing about basically planning and implementing branching strategy for the source code. Now, when I say source code, as we all know, like we are talking about a Git, right? So we work basically locally, and then we will post to the remote, that is GitHub or could be Azure repo. So here we will learn today in today's topic like what is branch and also branch protection and management and branch policy we have, then we have branch restriction, then branch protections. So we'll try to cover everything one by one. So first of all, let us understand what is branch. So we have already learned in our last sessions about what is branch, but to make it simple, if you talk about the definitions, when you check, it says that in Git, branch is like a separate workspace where you can make changes to your code without affecting the original or main version. It lets you experiments, add features, or fix issues independently, or later you can decide whether to combine or merge those changes back into your main code. Can somebody accept it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So when I say, as I told you, brands mean we all know. Basically, think of this way. Say, for example, you want to experiment something, you will have to basically need to have a isolated environment where you can play. It's just like a playground, right? You want to practice and again. And so as in when you are good at particular piece of this thing, then you're good with the merging back to the different brands. Same way here also. If it when I say the brands mean in simplest word, you can say as it is a isolated environment where you can basically do your changes so that it's not affect to your origin core or origin brands. That is your main brands. As I mentioned earlier, brands basically we have different. I mean, we have different type of branches. So the first one, as I told you, main branch is something that is a default branch, and sometimes we can also see sometimes as master branch instead of main branch. So, but in our case, mostly you would get to see something like this main branch. Now, so as I told you, it is an isolated environment. That means you will not be worried about what is going to happen if you do changes in your specific branch because you this is an isolated branch. That means it should not affect to your origin code, right? It is as simple. So this is the thing. Say for example, as you can see here, now this is a main branch. This is all your main branch. Now you have one issue that is called as a bug fix, right? You create a new branch based on the main branch. That means source branch is your main branch. Source is nothing but it is a origin branch. Means the where actually the core actually is getting from, right? This core is getting from main, right? Because main is a source branch or origin branch. So from there, based on this origin branch, you are going to create new branch called as bug fix one. So this is created from where? It is created from your main branch. Now another thing is that based on this thing, you want to if you want to have another branch from bug fix, you can also take add another issue related. You can create another branch based on the main branch. Okay. So don't worry, it is very simple. As we go along, we will learn a little bit in details. Now, there, as I told you, brands we all understood, like it is an isolated environment, right, where we can basically test our core and see everything works fine. If all okay, then we can plan for the next stage. So one of the thing we need to understand here is a branch management. Now, what is branch management now? Basically, when you are working with the branch, as I told you, branch is nothing but it is an isolated environment, right? Where you can do your code changes, or you can modify, and then you can push the code to the respective environment or the branches. Now, that means you also need to have certain manage. You need to manage that one. Management is, as the name suggests, right? That means that, say, for example, one particular branch, you're going to do some changes. How the branch is going to be restricted. So as you can see here, right, there are some of them like a branch policies we have. Then we also have a branch restrictions, then the branch protections. Now, when I say the branch policy and also branch restriction and protections, it's in every single things we will go in details, right? First thing here, as you can see, is the initial safeguard. That means this will be the first priority that you need to look after. Then we have a little bit advanced restrict. You can restrict certain things and also minimize catalytic actions. Don't worry if you don't understand because we will have in details explanation. Now, Let's go with the first one, that is your branch policy. So branch policy basically means as simple. You might have to work with Azure, right? Azure, we have something called as a Azure policy. You can just relate that. What we can do in Azure policy, like we can depends on your requirement, maybe you can restrict something, you can block certain resource URI or something. You, if you want to block particular keyword and all, we can all this is all called as a policy, right? They basically to make as part of the company standard basically. Same way here also we have concept for in Git, that is Azure Git basically, something called as Git policy, sorry, branch policies. Here, what is branch policy here? I mean, what is the things? If you can see here, the first one is a require a minimum number of reviewers. That means require approval from a specific number of reviewers on a pull request. That means if you're working with a Git or maybe in your Azure repos, if you don't have this kind of branch policy, like how many number of people should review your code in order to pull basically merge you merge, I mean pull request to be merged. That means now let me show you, maybe let me extend. Say for I will take any random this thing. Let's say I'm going to take this one. Now say for you working here, right, we have different branches now. All the branches we have it now. Let's say now, let's say as you can see here, Fisher slash Git branch and the Terraform branch. One of the branch if you're working, basically we need to restrict in order to merge this particular Git branch changes to your main branch. You need to have certain basically policy so that it is managed according to the company standard, right? Because every single core is basically tracked. So if you do not basically organize your basically the branch in the like according to the company standard, then what happen, there will be a lot of glitch there. Say for example, the code may come a conflict, like merge conflict may come, sometimes the code is not according to the standard, so everything. So this is the reason why we are using it here. The question is, why do we use then this call as a minimum reviewer? Why we are using minimum number of reviewers is because, say for example, you are working one particular dev branch now. In particular dev branch, say for example, you have done some specific changes. Now, as a DevOps point of view, maybe or maybe you're new to the team or maybe old in the team, you are good at based on your understanding, but still based on the requirement and also the kind of the project standard or company standard we need to follow, right? This is when we are using the policy here. That is one of the policy called as a required minimum number of reviewers. That means that many numbers has to approve in order to get your pull request to be merged into your main branch. Okay, not just a main branch, it is could be any other branch also. Okay, basically one branch to different branch, if you want to merge, there should be minimum number of people has to review your code. Second thing is a check for link work item. Now what is check for link work item? As I mentioned earlier, if you just see the definition, encourage traceability by checking the link work item on a pull request. That means why we are using the this work item, because every single things you are working, say for example, I'm going repo, and then we have dashboard. If you notice, if you remember last time I was telling in dashboard, say for example, I will check one of the, okay, let me take simple example, this one, right? Now, if you go to a board, now we have so many, basically the user story and epics and everything we are having. Say for example, now you are working with one particular issue. That means one particular task. Say for example, allow filtering of data. You're working this particular task. It is assigned to you. Say for example, now it is not assigned. Say for example, this was assigned to you. That means this particular as on when you assign this thing, click here. Now, if you can see here below, add link, right? Pull request. So now it is not link. So this can be linked. So what happens now? Whenever you're working in this particular task, right? This is a task, right? If you can see here, this is a task number is 104. Say for example, you're working this particular task. Now Based on this task, now I want to modify or I want to work in my Terraform core or maybe any core, right? In your basically development or in particular branch now, right? You need to basically will create one separate branch from your respective branch. It could be, let's say, from dev branch, you create a new branch as a feature slash something, some data, something like that. You given a branch name and you will create like the task will be created. Now you have to link it here. If you just click here, then you can link it. Once you link, what happen now? Automatically here you should be able to track. Say for example, whenever you are able to be, whenever you do a pull request, then it will be easy for the reviewer to understand, not just the reviewers, for all the members in the team basically, to understand what kind of this particular person is working on what task. So it will be easy for them to track as well as understand well. This is why we are using it. And then we have third number, that is check for the command resolutions. Check to see that all commands have been resolved on pull request. So I will show you this basically in my Git now. It is not supporting for me much because I'm using a free trial, so it is not supporting. Normally, when do you do a pull request, right? Every single pull request, there is a something called as a you can comment it. Comment why we are require is that, say for example, your core is not according to what is expected according to the project, right? So but you have done your work, but some point it is not according to the company standard or maybe policy, right? So what they will do, some reviewers, one of the reviewers from your team or a different team would review your code first. Based on then they'll give you comments now. Okay, this is the changes I want this to be available, or this can be modified so and so, like that they will give you some comments. Now based on the comments, again you need to go back and work on that. Now if you try to pull request also, if you see here, for example, I don't have anything. Say for example, I'll try to simply show you. If I can, let me go with Terraform. Now say for example, this is a one changes we have done this thing, right? Now here we can actually have a one comments there. This particular changes, we need to do it. Please make sure you work in this way, or you modify this and so on, right? So this command you need to mix, you have to fix one by one. That means fix nothing but you have to modify your code according to what is been instructed in your commands. So once you basically once you fix the particular the comments, then only when you push the code once again back to your remote here in your Git, I mean GitHub or maybe Azure repo, then only you will resolve the this thing, the comments. I will show you the later when we actually do in a real time project once we start. Okay, don't worry for now, but understand this must. Next is limit merge types. There are different type of merge available, right? So control merge branch history by limiting the available types of merge when pull requests are completed. So when we do a pull request, right? After pull request is nothing but I'm saying there my code is good. Let's say I'm working the feature branch now, and the code was the source code is dev branch. Okay, now feature branch to dev branch I want to pull request. Once it is pull request, if you see here, here, say for example, I will do a pull request. For example, now it is asking me. Say for example, I'm working the main. This is a actual origin branch or the source branch, and I want to compare with a different branch. Let's say I have done modified here. That is a feature slash git branch. Say for example, these two I'm working like I have taken code from main branch and working in this particular branch. That is your feature slash git branch. Now whatever changes is there in between, right, like two different branches, then I can check it here. Now say for example you can say this is from the git branch. That means this particular change was made from your git branch itself. Now this will help me to understand, okay, that means this particular change is going to be basically merged with your main branch as well as you uh, accept the pull request. Now if you create a pull request now you can see here, you can write anything descriptions, right? If you can see description we can write, and whatever changes is there, as I told you, That you can see, and also definitely you can see the commit ID, that one, or the hash ID. Okay, here we'll have an option for you to basically write a comments like make these changes or so and so. They will give you some comments. Based on that, you will do. Then you will complete your pull request here. Okay, once your pull request is completed, what happens? Whatever changes you have in your slash git branch, all the changes will be reflected or replicated into your main branch. Okay, this is the things. This is the reason why we are using the concept called as branch policy. This, so these all are possible. Then next, that is called as a branch restrictions. So as name suggests, right? That means you want to restrict something for certain things. Say for example, I want to do a like pre-march and build pull request change to validate core integrity. That means in order to build your applications or maybe any kind of pipelines, or maybe you want to run pipeline, that you have to basically follow certain restrictions. I mean, policy you need to follow according to the project standard or maybe company standard. So you have to check that also whether they are good according to the company standard or not. Okay. Then also,
Hidden, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah,
So I just want to have a clear understanding here. Uh,
yeah.
pull in the sense like we are just pulling it from the remote to the local, all the main right by the branches and all. Whereas the merge will be between the two different files. What all the changes we want to merge the code to the one of the different
Okay.
branch, then merge will be helpful, right? In that
Okay.
scenario.
Yeah, good questions. But first thing, your the kind of pull request, what are you saying? It is not somewhere it is not 100% correct. Okay. Pull request basically why we use first thing. Okay, let me. Okay, why we use a pull request? Pull request, say for example, I'm working here. This is a branch called as a, main branch. Say for example, this is your main branch. Okay. From main branch, I created new branch called as something called as a feature, like FEATUSA feature slash something. Let's say now in my case git branch something. This was created right now. That means now I will do changes. This is the source branch. That means this is the origin branch. This the main branch is your origin branch. From based on this origin branch, I created a branch called feature slash git branch. Now, based on the requirement in your project, let's say based on your task, you will do modify the code. You will modify the code here. Modify. You will modify your code here in your git branch. Okay. Once you, I'm saying this is done in locally now. You create remote or local, no problem. But the code was taken from your origin branch, that is your main branch, and you create a branch called as a feature slash git branch now. Say for example, this can be your remote or local. Both works fine. Okay. Concepts are same and same. Now, let's say example, you created this branch locally or remotely, no problem. Now, all you need is that you will be working changes in particular branch, that is your git branch only. You will modify your code according to what is expected as per your task. So for example, you are working with one particular monitoring tools or monitoring related, let's say backup or anything. So backup related thing you will modify in this particular branch, or you will add new core in particular branch, not in the main branch. Now, once you've done everything, say for example, you have modified code. What I'll do next, I'll do a git add, right? Basic because dot all. That means I will, because I have done locally changes, right? In the particular branch,
Mhm,
I'll do this thing, then I'll commit it. I'll commit.
mhm.
After committing, what I'll do, I will push the code.
Okay.
Next, I'll push, right? This is the
Yeah.
normally we are doing, right?
Yes.
Push to
Yes.
where? Remote we are pushing.
Yes. Mm.
Till here clear.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
means
That's clear.
this particular changes, whatever you have, this particular changes in particular branch is still right now it will be available where in the remote it will be available all code changes,
Yeah.
because you have you have modified the code, you have git add did you committed, you push to the remote. That means all code, let's say in GitHub or maybe Azure repo, your code will be available. But which branch? In this particular branch, that is your
Feature
git
bench.
branch, feature branch, not
Yeah.
here main branch, because
Yeah.
the code change happen only particular branch.
Yes.
Okay, then next what I have to do, next as I told you, you need to somewhere you need to same the code changes that you have made in your in your let's say
Feature.
feature brands, you want to sync with your these two different brands this also, right?
Yeah, main
because
branch.
because here the new code is not updated. This
Mhm.
whatever I have in this particular feature branch, the code is not available in my main branch, right? So what I need to merge the code basically. So in order to merge the core, that is when I have to use the pull request or PR. Understood? In order to in order to merge the core from the feature branch to the dev main branch, if I want to merge it, I need to do a pull request first. After
Oh,
pull
sure.
request, then there will be something called as a review. Somebody has to review your code.
Yeah.
After review only, based on the review, if let's say some you whatever changes you're doing in this particular branch, let's say some issues there, or maybe it is not good as expected. In this case, somebody what they will do is that they may give you some comments here.
Yeah.
Okay, comments. Let's say your code is good, then they will accept it. Approver will accept your code, then they'll accept. If code is good, they'll accept. Is it clear now? That means in order to merge itself, we have to raise a PR manually.
Yeah, understood this pull request where we
Hmm.
need to push to the main, like pull to the main branch. We need to use
Pull request,
pull
yes,
command, pull
yes,
request. But
pull request.
just I want to want to have understanding regarding the merge and the pull. As I understood the pull here,
Okay.
what
Hmm.
will be the merge? Because in merge also we will just write the git merge and the main, right, main
Okay.
master file or main files. In that
Yeah.
scenario, I'm asking
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So your point is that you want to know the difference between the say
pull and merge.
pull and the merge. Okay. Pull. Let me show you. Say for example, let me maybe I can type here. You can
Because I
see my.
saw some command like
Hmm.
in our assignment we just wrote, right, git merge and the
Yes. Yeah.
main file name. So that's
Got
the
it.
reason
Got
I'm
it.
asking.
Normally, okay. Let me go with the first pull. Okay. Pull, right? Pull. What it'll do is that, but this pull is different. This is a pull request.
Yeah.
Another concept called as a git pull. That is another concept. Don't be
Okay.
confused.
Okay. 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 Okay.
What we are using a pull request, this is a PRB call as a short form. This
Okay.
has a different concept here.
Uh,
This can be used only when you want to basically merge between two different branches in order to review your code. Before basically merging the code, somebody has to review your code. In this case, we can use a PR. But if you talk
okay.
about just a git pull, that has a
Yeah.
different meaning here. Okay.
Okay.
If I talk
Okay.
about the normal git pull, what it will do, whatever changes I have from the removed branch or maybe specific branch, all code is going to be downloaded in your local branch and
Yeah.
merge it. Merge it to where?
Yes.
In particular branch.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And when I say merge, man, there is a something called as we use something called as a git, then merge,
Mm, yeah.
merge, merge, then branch name, right? That's
Yes.
in depth. Say, for example, this is your dev branch.
Yeah.
This is another meaning. This is another meaning.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me clear this one. Here means, say for example, I want to say for example, I don't want to go with all this step because this is all manual tasks.
Uh,
But question is, why can I do? Man, still, should I follow this one? Normally, in your real environment, people will follow this one. Why we are following? Because the reason is, as I told you, somebody can review your code properly, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Because without reviewing the core you cannot merge with your main branch, because as I told you, main branch is something that is the origin branch. That means all the production ready code will be available there, so we should not be, that should not affect main branch, not affect. That is why somebody always need to review your code in order to merge to your main branch. That is why they raise a PR here, then somebody will
Oh,
review.
that means merge and PR are kind of same, but we won't use merge in production environments. Despite we use PR to
Yeah,
review someone. Okay, okay, I
yeah.
understood. Because you are using the word pull, right? So I just
Mm.
sync with this git pull. So
Yes, yes, got it. Yeah,
yeah, sorry, yeah, that's it.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Understood.
So yeah. So here, when I say merge means here means normally, let's say when I can use, say for you're working, let's say you're working in individual. Let's say you're working in the individual branch. You're working
Okay.
individual branch means let's say you are working the feature branch, and apart from me, no other person is working in my particular branch. In this case, you know what changes you are going to do, or maybe you are doing right. In this case, you can merge with your respective branch.
Okay.
That means,
Mhm.
let me show you. Let's say this is a main branch. This is your main branch. Okay. Now you have something called as a, you create a new call as a, let's say this is for I will make it simple, monitoring branch. This is called monitoring related one branch I created. Okay. Now this branch is created from where? From the main branch, right? This
Yes.
particular monitoring branch is created from the main branch. Now here I have worked something. Now I have another branch similar of the monitoring branch. Let's say I mention as a alerts. This is another branch I created now. Say for example, this is a branch name. Now, but this particular branch is not pull request. I mean, I didn't take from the code from the main branch. I can take from the monitoring branch only instead of having here. So that I don't have to write the code from scratch, or I still need the code whatever available in my this branch also as well. So instead of basically creating the branch from the main branch, I can create from the monitoring branch only. So that whatever changes is there in a monitoring branch, same thing I can see here in the LR also, LR branch also, and also LR related I can add it some more. I can add it some more in LR related.
Okay.
Then in this case, if you want to merge with these two brands, say
Mhm.
for example, I want to whatever changes is there from the this particular branch to I want to bring these changes to my particular LR branch. What simply I have to do, you have to simply use the git checkout. First branch will be created
Yeah.
always. Okay. So checkout, you can checkout. Then I can give a branch name. In my case, I have to switch to the this branch first. Which branch?
Okay.
I have to switch to the LR branch. So I have to mention LR.
Okay.
That means I will get. I have to create a branch first. Otherwise, you can use a one short commands also. So in my case, I have created a branch. I am checking out to the LR branch. So
I'll
once I am
branch.
good there, now I want to
Will
bring the
merge.
changes. Yeah, I want to bring the
Mhm.
changes from here. Like whatever changes I want, same thing I want to bring it to here. In this case, what simply I
Yeah.
can do a git
Merge.
merge.
Alert.
Then I can then mention the nor LR monitoring.
Uh, okay. Now we are
Monitoring.
checking out at alert file, right? So we will merge that to the alert itself. I hope.
Actually, how it works,
Yeah. Yeah.
that sometimes you may confuse. That is good things. Normally, whenever you're working with any branch side, if you want to
Okay.
be in particular, you have to go to the which branch you want to merge to. In my case, I want to merge
Okay.
to the LR branch side. This is why I went to LR. I have to check out here. That means check out is nothing but I'm switching to
Switching.
this particular branch,
Mhm.
LR branch.
Mhm.
Once I am setting the particular branch, that is the LR branch, then only I will use a git merge. And also
Okay.
now I want to changes. I want to bring the changes from which branch, the monitoring branch, right?
Not yes. Yes.
That is
Yes.
why I'm using the monitoring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it
That's
clear?
that's. Yeah. Yes. 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 Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Thanks for
Hello,
that.
bro. Just one
Yeah.
question.
Hmm.
So, extension for this Bhagwan question only. So,
Okay.
but we should not in the local, right? We are having 1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah.
Nemo sound dagi. Hello, hello.
Yeah. Audible, bro. Am I audible?
Yes, bro. Bro, here, like in the local, you are having two branches. So,
Yes.
like except main branch, you created just like feature one and feature two branch.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
modify anything, I mean, one person is working on two branches. Like feature one is
Yeah.
working, feature two also is working.
Hmm.
So if you want to do modification the feature two, so he
Hmm.
want to merge the feature two branch to the feature one, then he will check out to the feature one and just he type
Yes.
git merge and feature two.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in the local, he should not merge to the main branch, right?
Yes. 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 Normally
If
we
he
should not
merge,
do that.
yeah, if he merge in the main branch, then there will be conflict in the git remote.
Actually, you can do because from again then in this case you have to go to the main branch and push the changes also.
Okay, but
But
that time in the git remote in the GitHub,
hmm,
main branch and remote branch, I mean feature branch both are different. There will be
yes.
conflict, right?
Yes, conflict will, unless you do a mass this thing, conflict, not that case. Conflict when it will come, that also you need to understand. Okay.
Okay.
In this situation, conflict will not come because the changes, it is only the code changes you are going to make, right? It will not be conflicting. Only when you have a specific set of the core in the same line. Let's say example, in the main branch, let's say in the main branch, we have a file called as a file A. In the line number, let's say line number I have a, let's say 90. Same
Okay.
thing in your another, let's say monitoring branch. In monitoring branch also you have something called a same file exists as a file name, file A, line number 90. Somebody is doing, let's example here you have a different value or different name, something, some other, you have a different
Okay.
value, and you also have a different value here. That means same file, but they are different branches now, right? The
Okay.
same
Okay.
file in the same line number, they're having a different thing. There's example in the line number, let's say here B, something for just for a simplest case, B you have in the line number 90, but here you have a C. That means the value are not matching, right?
Okay.
So what you can do in this case? Then in this case, conflict will come. The Git will not know which one to keep.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is when the conflict may occurs. Okay.
Okay, okay, fine.
So
But just one doubt, one doubt.
mhm,
Okay, here we are doing merge with the main branch. Like we are going to check out to git checkout main. After that, git merge with this feature branch. So whatever the
yeah.
change is in the C, it is coming into the main branch. After that, we are doing the push, right? So we
Yes,
are
we are
doing
going
the
to.
push means it is going to the GitHub in the
Yeah.
main branch. So
Okay.
that
Let.
time just my doubt is
Mm,
your first time we are pulling git pull
yes.
remote I mean git pull origin from the main branch, I mean
Mm,
feature branch.
mm,
So just my doubt is in the remote github
mhm.
main branch and the feature branch both are different values, right? I mean the
Yes.
code is
Yes.
different, right? That
Yeah.
time
That.
also we have to do the PR, right?
Yes. Yes. We have to do a peer. While doing a peer, but normally, okay. Good questions. In this case, suppose example, if you example you have two brands, one is a LR monitoring brands and LR brands. If you have a same line of the core, if you have a duplicate value, then while doing a marsh git marsh and the branch name, if you do know, then it will conflict. You have to manually
Okay.
manually fix the issue.
Okay, bro,
Manually
understand.
fix the issue because the value are not matching. So then when you do this commit, like git commands and the branch name you mentioned, if two branches are not matching the value according to the this thing, then you will get a message in your GUI mode stating that this there are conflicts. So you have to fix that manually. Like
Okay, okay.
whichever you want to say, example one of the, let's say you want to keep the from the line number 19, that A you want to keep instead of C, means you have to accept. There is a option called like incoming and current, like that. Incoming accept, ongoing. Okay, sorry, on incoming you will get something like incoming like that you get changes, and incoming changes you'll get it. Second you will get a current, CURREN, current changes, like that. Okay, changes. Then third you will get a combinations, combination. Combination means when you want to keep two different values, basically. Current means sorry, incoming means that is coming from the remote. Okay, if you want to keep the remote changes, that means whatever changes is their existing changes, then I have to use a incoming. Current means what is been modified in your local systems and particular branch. And a
Okay,
combination means, as I told you, it is a combination, that means remote as well as local, both I want to keep it. In this case
okay.
normally we should not be use this one, only where is a different sort of code. In this case we can use it, but usually you can use one of them if you want to. If you think that the remote code value, whatever the code is there, it is correct, mean you can simply accept incoming changes. Otherwise if you feel that incoming is not good, that means remote changes whatever it was there, it is not good, I want to keep it as origin, I mean my current branch what changes, means you can simply create accept as current changes. That's it.
Okay, okay, bro. Okay, thanks.
Clear?
Clear,
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go with the next one, that is a bill this thing, what I call, I think I have already discussed this one here. uh, Status means status checks basically demand successful statuses from other service to complete pull requests. Basically whenever you run the pipeline everything, also we can check the status of the particular successful this thing also, that also we can check. And there is a automatic reviewers. What is automatic reviewers? Designate code reviewers automatically for specific core areas in pull requests That is a manual approvals. What exactly this is very important. You need to understand this is because we sometimes we don't know much what exactly need to be done. Say for example, okay, let me take you to the I think sure I will take the Azure repo because we are talking about Azure. Okay, 1 minute guys, let me put for charging my phone and charger. Okay, I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I was saying about the brand repo, right? So okay, so what is the things? Okay, this is about the I think what is it? Okay, automatic reviewers. So if you see the definition, designate code reviewers automatically for specific core areas. That means now for example, say for example, if you're working with one particular branch now, right? Particular branch now, you have this many code are available now. Say for example, here we have something called as a we'll take simple example. Let me just check it. Okay, I will take different code otherwise. Okay, in simplest case example, let's just keep it simple. um, Say for example, if you see this one, what is this thing? This is a file name called as a or folder. We don't have any folder. Or let me switch back to my another project so that it will be easy for you to see repository. In this, let me select one of the core. I will select as this one, containers. Now, say for example, if you see here, there is a folder called as a web app, right? This is a folder. If you go inside the folder, there are so many other, subfolders are available. Now, say for example, you are working, one particular person is working on the pages related. That means we don't know, let's say as a DevOps engineer or maybe a security engineer or whoever it is, we may not know entire code, right? We may not know entire code. So, but when somebody works space related tasks, right? That means he would have a better understandings when it comes to other person, right? So what we can do is that in this case, say for example, this is a pace related. Let's say for example, under simplest example, say for example, you are from the infrastructure engineer or infra engineer. Now, that means you have a good knowledge when it comes to the infra related. Any service you talk, you can easily understand it, right? But at the same time, when somebody from the different team, say for example, development, as a developer, if you ask about the infrastructure related code, they cannot understand everything because they have not worked, they're not much familiar with the particular service. So in this case, this is when we can use this call as a automatic reviewers. That means, let's say this is a page related. That means anything page related should be reviewed by some particular person. Same way, if you have another folder called as a infra related or Terraform related, that means only Terraform related changes to be basically reviewed by some particular person. Okay, this all can be possible. Okay, this is when we can use it. So this is the beauty of using the automatic reviewers. Now we have a push restrictions. As name suggests, restrict branch push permissions to specific collaborators using security settings. That means, say for example, every person, let's say I'm working in the dev branch now. Sorry, I'm working in the let's say example DevOps related tasks. I cannot make modified or do any changes in my development things because I do not have that much of knowledge in development. Say for example, now that means, but how the Terraform or maybe the how the not Terraform basically how the Git will know who is working on which particular branch? They will not know. So as long as you have access to the branch, you can do anything, right? So you can go to the particular branch, you can do changes and do anything. But for security point of view, what we can do is that instead of that, say for example, you are working with the only dev branch mean or maybe feature branch, you will have access to only the certain branch now. And while pushing the code also, you cannot randomly push the code whichever branch you want. So you can only push the code changes only to the specific branch in which you have permissions. It is as simple. Okay. Now, then we have something called as the branch protections. Branch protection, as name suggests, that means how you're going to protect or secure your branch, right? So we have a prevent deletion. That means uh, let's say I don't want people to delete my branch. Let's say I have branch called as a dev branch. The particular dev branch should not be deleted by certain person. Like you can prevent that kind of policy also, right? We can have that also. We can do that also. And also like accidentally or intentionally also, they cannot delete at all. And also prevent overwriting. That means somebody, let's say you have written something, other person should not be able to override the existing code what has been written in your branch. Then we have something called as the branch commit history with a force. Sometime we are trying to basically commit the changes forcefully for any reason. So this should not be possible. So this all we can use with the help of branch protections. Okay. Then next, now this we are good. Now we are discussing about another topic, that is discovering branch strategy, or we can call as a branching strategy. So there we learn why we need branching strategy. There are different types of branching strategies such as trunk-based branching, feature or task branching, and we have a feature flag branching and release branching. So don't worry if you don't understand till now. I mean this particular this thing we will have this thing you will understand now. So first of all, let us understand why we are using the branching strategy. First thing, it is a isolate works, right? It isolates your works. That means now it keeps development efforts separate to prevent conflicts. So as I told you, every single time whenever we are modifying or working with any particular code, the best practice is to basically create a separate branch and modify into particular branch and then test it well. Once you test it well, then only we can basically commit to the respective changes. I mean, merge with the respective branch, right? And of course, we can also have these facilitators collaborations, enable parallel work and structure code review. So if you have this kind of branching strategy, in simplest way, what is branching strategy mean is basic way of organizing your branch, how to be manage it basically. So basically based on the company to company, they have a different set of workflow in order to basically work with this particular what is it, agile methodology, right? So somebody would have a different set of work requirements while doing it or process. Other company would have a different process of working, right? So, but we need to follow certain structure so that everybody should follow the same strategy so that we can be in the same phase. Okay. Then we have a support release management, helps manage release or fix and the versioning. And also we have streamings. CI/CD integrates well with continuous integration and deployment pipeline and mitigates risks, provides a control environment for testing and validation, as I told you. So if you use this kind of thing, these are some of the benefit you can get. Okay. Now let's understand first one, that is called as trunk-based branching. So normally, let us understand what is trunk-based branching strategy. Trunk based basically, as if you can see the definitions here, developer push directly to the main core. That means, as you can see, the green color is your main branch now, and you have a multiple sub branch created, that is called a bug fix everywhere. Now here we can see a release number with the particular one uh, dot zero then x and here and so on, right? That means here in simplest way, normally the trunk based branch is not much use in today's world basically. And why be, I mean, what is the flow? First let me understand, I mean let us understand. Let's say example, this is your main branch. You will basically create a new branch from the main branch. Okay. basically create in the sense based on the release branch, they will directly basically push the code direct to main branch. They will not have a separate basic dedicated branch which we can test it or anything. So everything they are doing the same branch and they are working on the same branch. Say for example, you are working on one particular issue, they'll create and they'll directly push the changes to the respective same branch itself. So this will be the biggest problem when you work with the multiple team members. And also it is not good practice also. So if it is, this can be used only when you have a small project. Even nowadays in small project also they do not use these methods. Okay. Then there is a some of the like pros and cons, like easier for really small number of developers. As I told you, if you have a small number of people or developers who are working and know their tasks individually, then in this case we can go with this one. Cons, we can have large code review process, much conflict. Definitely, as I told you, there is only one branch, so there are chances to have a much conflict because multiple people will be modifying the same branch, same code, right? So definitely there will be chances of having a code conflict. Then second, we have something called as a feature, that is called as a task branching. We can mention as a feature branching, or maybe feature task branching, whatever you can call it. Now branches are created for each feature or task. You need to understand that actually. That means the branch, whatever branch is there, it is created for each feature or task. That means every single requirement, say for example, you have a new task. Based on the new task, you are going to create the new feature branch. So when comes to the actual world, including our project, we are using this branching strategy. So this is very common question in the interview also. They would ask you, what is the branching strategy you guys are using in your project? So the you can mention one of the thing, we can mention this one. So as I told you, that means every single features or maybe for each task you will be creating a separate branch. You can, if you see here, this is all your main branch. Say for example, now in the main branch there's something called as a development branch, right? They will create it from the main branch. The code is original code is from the main branch. They will create separate branch from the main branch as a development branch now. So they will do here. Now based on development branch, what they'll do, they will not take code directly from your main branch. Now if new additional features you want to add it, right? If any new additional features you want to add it, can you just accept it? Okay, thanks. Okay, so now this is a main branch. Now from the main branch, you have a core called, I mean, development branch. Then now whatever changes you're going to do, let's say you want to add new tasks or new features you want to add it. So this will be created from your, not from the main branch. This will be created from the development branch only. Okay, this will be created from development branch. Let's say feature, I want to create feature A. If another task mean they another person would create another feature branch from your dev branch only. That means you do not create the code directly from your main branch. Okay, so you will create the code from your development branch only. So once you create a development from development branch, then you create new branch as a feature, whatever based on a task. Similar way, you have another task mean you create another branch from the development branch. That's it. This is called as feature or task branching strategy. Let us understand what is the pros and cons here. Enables independence and experimental innovations. So as I told you, if you want to work with individual features or anything, your code should be reliable. You need to also think how the code stability, everything, right? So what is best practice that to basically maintain your code, right? Integrity and everything. So there's a thing, and also easy to segment and easy to implement CI/CD workflows. And what is the cons? Older features difficult to merge. Yes, if you have a multiple branch created, of course, if you have a, let's say, 10 different features, 10 different time this thing, it is a difficult to merge it. That is thing. But normally we do not have that much of changes. They will simply will create new branch from the dev branch. Once it has been tested, they will run the pipeline. If all okay, they will merge video respecting that is a dev branch. That's it. Okay. Then we have something called as a feature flag branching, or we can also call as a uh, toggle. Okay, but for now, you just say example.
Sorry to interrupt. Like in the The future branching, once everything is working fine, they will delete the old branch, or like they will keep that branch. For
Okay,
suppose
good.
I have created a fixed bug branch. Now it
Okay.
was fixed and everything is working fine. So now I'll go ahead and delete my branch as it is working fine, or I will keep until project complete.
Okay, good questions. So here normally it is again depends on the projects of project, how critical your task is, or maybe your feature is. Say for example, you have a branch called as something called as a feature branch you created. Okay, now you have done your work, everything, you have merged it. Normally when you merge your basically whenever you push the changes to your remote branch, when you raise a PR or pull request, that time reviewer will review your code, right? They will review your code. If your code looks good, then only they will merge to the respective branch, that is your dev branch, right? So here when you are basically merging the dev branch from feature branch to dev branch, that time there is an option to basically delete it at the time of pull request. So it is depends on the person, or maybe the kind of the manager. Normally people will delete it, but if you feel you want to still review it, the best thing maybe you can keep for some time, maybe 1 day 2 days. But normally if I talk about myself, I do not delete at the same time of PR. But thing is that why I don't delete, because sometimes the feature whatever I have added may not work. It will be work, but for any reason, let's say something to be again work on the same thing, then I know what I have modified it. So it will be easy for me to work again. That is why I do not delete at the same time of PR. But yes, there are, we can do it at a time of PR. Otherwise, we can delete it later also. But if you want to delete later, maybe after 1 or 2 days, you can stay. Then later you can delete it.
Okay,
Clear?
okay, got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
clear, clear, got it.
It depends on you basically. But it's best practice to delete it. But again, if you, as I told you, if you're not sure, maybe you want to keep, you want to see how things work, then better to keep for 1 or 2 days. Then delete it. Because if you don't delete, it will, as your work with multiple tasks, then the branch, it will get more and more, right? It will be created more branches. That is the thing. Okay, now let's go with the next one, that is called as feature tag branching. Sorry, flag branching. Here, use flags during development to make independent feature lifecycle. So if you just notice here, this is a main branch, and then they also created the development branch, and from development branch they created as a again feature branch, just like a feature branch only, or task branch, right? Similar way, but here one thing you see, there is icon, like flag icon. This is toggles basically icon. That means if you want to basically release one particular features, so I can simply release with one particular with the help of this feature flag. Same thing, if you have a feature B, I can use this feature flag like that. Okay, but normally this will not be used much, but this can also be used if at all required. Let's see when we can use it, this one. Let me see. Feature branching is done. Okay, okay. Now, like as I told you, uh, okay, yeah. Now next is your release branch. Release branch is very similar, but this is more advanced one. But we need to understand carefully here. So just look at this particular diagram here. If you see here, this is your main branch. Now in the main branch, there is a something called a new release. Say for example, I want to create a new release, right? The new release is created here from your main branch. Now from the release branch, they'll create something called a new branch. That is a development branch. Basically, they'll create it. They'll create, and then once they create new branch, then they will create separate feature branch. Like feature A, feature B, feature
Hello.
C. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Am I audible? Is it okay? Rasukesh, you're saying something?
Sorry, sorry. I was.
Okay, you're not hearing. Okay, now okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So yeah, I was saying about the release branching strategy basically. So why we have to use here, say example, as I told you, this is your main branch. Now let's say, normally here one concept we need to understand, in the main branch always you will have a production ready base code ready. That means your code will be always up to date in your main branch. That means, so for example, I want to deploy or I want to develop some this thing, means the code is always up to date. Say for example, now that means code is up to date means it can be deployed right anywhere. Now there is another requirement. Let's example, I want to deploy the applications now. So what they will do, based on the main branch, they will create a new branch called as a release one, or whatever name you that's release one or two, whatever. So I created the new branch from the main branch because, as I told you, in the main branch you have a latest code or up to date code. Okay, so I will create based on that new feature branch. Sorry, not feature branch, release branch. Then based on this branch, now as I told you, the code is ready, but the requirement is now new, right? Release branch means what we have to do is we have to develop the applications, or maybe we have to work the some changes in your application level. So I will create new branch called as a release branch, and I will create a based on the release branch. I will create one more separate branch called as a development branch. Then in the development branch, what they will do is that they will try to modify the code according to this thing, right? We need to mostly develop the code, right? According to the application related, I need to modify or work on my code. This is when, then what they will, as a developer, they will create a feature branch here based on the requirement. Say in the release one, they want to deploy the application, mean in application as what they want exactly. So that features will be created based on the here, what we call that development branch. Once it is created, everything same thing, another person would be creating another branch from the development branch, that is called as a feature B now. So once for each feature, once it has been this thing basically tested. Normally here mean basically, but if I talk about here release branch, as I told you, we will not do much changes here. Okay, only the mostly what, as per my understanding, in the release branch they do not do much changes. Only development phase they will do it, and based on that here mean they will do only the small changes, not the major changes. Okay, small changes they will do. Let's say there is a bug fix, or some syntax are not working, or some your code is not working as expected, do small changes, or maybe issue will be fixed here only. So once it is fixed, then they will march back to your dev branch. Once it is marched back to the dev branch, again they will same changes. As I told you, dev branch is up to date, right? Because the code has been tested, it has been working fine. Then the same code in your dev branch or development branch will be marched back to your release branch as well as the main branch. Why in the main branch? Because as I told you, every single time whenever you see, your main branch will be up to date. That means if you, that means now what I can do, I can simply same code, because it has been tested, I can merge to my release branch as well as the main branch. So that now what happened, whatever changes is there in the release branch, I can directly deploy to the respective environment for particular requirement. Same code will be available in your main branch also, so that next person also will have a latest code. So is it clear, Tim? Okay. Okay, then next we have something called a branching release, like as I told you, branching release branching, some of the pros and cons. Like support multiple version in parallel. As I told you, there will be multiple versioning will be there, because each feature will have a different version, different branching will be created, right? So we'll have definitely that, and customizable for specific customers. So as I told you, for each requirement would have a release branch created separately, right? So based on the requirement, you can also use the separate specific requirement. You can make changes accordingly, and focused on specific issues per patch or release, as I told you. So if you want to with one particular issue or anything, you will do and show. But here some of the cons are like difficult to maintain. Definitely we have so many things you have to manage it. We have to merge with your release branch, then also main branch. There are other changes, right? So that's also another complex things we need to think. And also cannot have many changes or contributors. and potentially creates more work for teams per version. So these are some of the pros and cons. So yeah. So and next we have something called as branching strategy. We have differences. We have discussed everything. So let's understand here. So if you see here, we have strategy. In that we have a trunk base, feature base, then feature flag, then also release branching. And this is a models like branching models. Like as I told you, we have a single branch trunk, that's a trunk base, and also one branch per feature. So one branch per feature we can use it. As I told you, normally if I talk about the this particular feature branch, so for per features you will have a one dedicated feature will be created or per task. And similar way, you can also just go through these ones. Best practice when we can use is what's the pros and cons, everything. So you'll have proper understanding here. So as I told you, when I say the trunk base, basically uh, mostly it will be used for the single branch. Okay. And what is the benefit? We can use, let's say, some of the best for, let's say, for first CICD frequency release. Because as I told you, a developer would only work one particular branch, so it will be easy for them to test the code and everything, and the frequent release and all. And you can also understand the fewer merge conflicts on the first release, need songs testing, not ideal for the long features. Same way for the feature branch, we have a if you want to use the feature branch, then you need to create the branch per one branch for per features. And it why we use is the isolated feature development. So as I told you, for each feature we will basically do write the code or modify it and test the code in your locally, and then you are going to march back to the respective branch. And isolate changes improves code review. Definitely, as I told you, for every single thing you have to review the code. So this can also be benefit. And also long-term branch cause conflicts. If you that means if you keep your core for longer times, let's say you create a one feature branch today, after 1 month if you're trying to march to the different your respective branch or maybe source branch, then in this case there could be a cause conflict may occur. Because as I told you, as and when you do changes, you need to basically pull requests you do, and also you have to get the latest code, right? So there are chances of having a core conflict. Then next we have a feature flag used for the toggles in code. They will use a toggle like a flag, feature flag tag, that is a toggles, and gradual rollout, quick rollbacks. If you want to do that kind of scenario, we can use this one. So release means, as I told you, separate branch for release. So as I told you, every single release would have a separate branch created for you, right? So if you create one particular application deployment related, from your main branch, you create a branch called as a release, and then for each release will be created separate branch. Then based on the release, then you create a development branch, and then based on the issue for particular release, then you will create separate feature branch, and then you will do a test, and then you merge back to the respective feature release branch as well as main branch. And what is the best for? It is the best for stabilizations before deployment. As I told you, before deploying, the code will be stabilized in your main branch as well as respective branch, and ensures a stable release. And additional maintenance and slow down release. Definitely, it will be slow down release because, as I told you, there is so many processes going on behind, right? So these are the some of the benefit of using this thing. Okay. So yeah, that's all. I think yeah, for now that's it. We have another concept here. Maybe let me see. Yeah, I think I'll try to. Let's see. Okay. Oh, this particular thing I will cover next week. I mean, next this thing. We have something called as um, that is a repository permission related. Like we have a branch permissions in Azure repos, how branch policy works, like branch log, everything. Otherwise, I'll try to cover now only in maybe 5 minutes. Maybe it's not take much, nothing much to discuss. But yeah. So when I say about the branch level permissions access, provides users different access to different branches by default inherited from organizations than project level rules. So basically, some of the rules are not. It will be different depends on your projects and also the organization's rule basically. And now, for example, this is basically if you see here, this is the how branch permission works basically. So if you can see here, You can also see access to the branch menu from the portal. You can go to branch security. Now if I show you that one, branch security, let me take you there. Now this is a branch, guys. So if you go here, click here first. You can click, put your cursor over there, put your cursor. As if you just let me see. Okay, why is taking time? I'm putting my cursor, but it's not moving much. Okay, now as you put cursor, you can see here, right? Different kind of things. Now if you see about this thing, advanced security, we don't have much because we have not enabled, because these are things we need to enable and we need to pay them also. Everything is not free, so if you're going with the paid version, you can get it. So if you can see here, like advanced security, if you enable it, so you can see you have to pay them. There are some of the things, like you can use vulnerabilities scannings and everything we can use here. Code scanning, everything we can integrate, we can use here, but for that we have to pay. So but having said that, if you come to the branch and you come to the settings, and you get to see if you want this particular repository to be forked by some other persons, you can enable it or disable depends on requirements. And also there is an option called commit mention linking. It's nothing but automatically create links for work item mentioned in a commit id. So these all also features are there. If you want, you can use it. And commit mention work item resolution. So these all with the particular commit ID, with the fix with the commit. I mean, this is basically ID of your work item. For every single work item, whenever we are using it, there will be a work item getting created, right? I mean the number. So that we can use like that. Then also inherit peer, this also we can set. And also if you want to disable the repository, we can do it. These are settings are there. Then comes to the policy. Yeah, so in policy you can just comment author email. If you want to check this also, you can just go into, just need to go through with this one. And also inherit configurations you can define here. And also if you want to reserve some name, you can do so. And also you can maximum the part lengths and also file size. Everything can be even the check for the credentials and secrets. That means if there is any kind of username or password or API keys or anything that is secrets or maybe sensitive information stored in your code, that time this may fail also. Okay, that's the thing. In my case, let it be for now. Next is something called as a branch policy. Now if you go to the security, and now you can see, as I told you, under security we have something inheritance, right? So now if you just notice here, we have organizations. Under organizations we have our projects, that is agile project. Under here is where we have our repository, right? So this all by default inherited by your organizations and the project level basically. So whatever permission is given, those will be inherited by default. So you don't need to give any other permission. If you need, depends on the requirement, then yes, you can basically need to define all this as well. Okay, so you can also check, say for example, normally if you see here, there is something called as a, let me show you, project. Okay, yeah. So if you see here, Agile project will be common. Okay, if you see was other project will be created. So like this, we'll have now based on the team members or users, you can also basically check what you need according to your requirement. You can define here also settings, whether you want to create tags, you want to contribute pull requests, you want to define some contribute, something like that. Basically, it depends on the projects. If you want to do or rename the repository, whether you want them to be LO or DNA. So these sort of want to, also you can see the read permissions. So these all are available options. So you just need to explore a little bit here. Then we have it. Approvals checks. Right now we don't have much anything. That is a thing, right? So yeah, these all things are there. But yeah, I think it will take time to explore some more, because I need to show you all. So there are other things also, like how to log the branch log, why we use branch log. So if I talk about the branch log, if you see a branch log in read only mode, that means they cannot write your code. Say for example, you're working with one particular branch, say for example dev branch. In particular dev branch, if you put a log as a read only, that means other person or maybe they cannot basically modify or anything, they cannot modify on your branch because it is locked. Just like in Azure we have in resource group, we can also define, we can also have a different resource lock, right? Not just a resource group, on any level, resource level. Similar way we have here also in Azure branch lock. We can use it. Why we are using it? First thing, no new commits, cannot change existing commit history. We cannot change also if you log the branch policy, I mean branch log. And also purpose, pair with a pull request, prevent changes while being reviewed. So when we can use, if we have a multiple branches, multiple code review, right? So that time what we can do is, if you some, let's say example, you are working in one particular branch, now somebody is, the code is very critical, I want to ensure that the code is expected. I want the code to be reviewed by some particular person according to the standard. So at the same time, I don't want any other person to basically merge the code to my or respective branch. So in this case, we can use this one. Or maybe you don't want any other person to modify or do anything or work in particular branch for timings. So in this sort of scenario, we can use the branch lock. So who can do that? User who logged it, who remove the, who can unlock the logs? Only person who logged it. And also project administrator would have access to unlock the branch. Explicit remove log permission action also we can do it. So let me show you now. If I show you, okay, let me, now how can I see that one? Let me show you. Now if I go here, as I told you, let me go back to my projects and let me go to my repository. If your repository now, maybe somewhere here. Now we have something called as a here branch. Go to branch. Now which branch you want to do it? I want to log in particular, let's say dev branch, right? I want to create, sorry, I want to log particular dev branch because I don't want any other person to do any changes in my specific dev branch. Now there is a three dot I have to click. If you see here, I can see a log branch. Now, if you see here, now you do not see any icon, right? Now, if you see here, this is a branch has policy. Now, and you hardly you see this only. Now, if I put this log, now you see there is a one symbol, log symbol, where in this case, the log symbol is not there. So this is the beauty of, now if somebody tries to basically modify any code or anything, they should not be able to, they will not be able to do any changes here because it is locked. No more, you can see it is locked by Hriyen, right? So if you want to unlock, how can I do that? I have to go back. Where is that? I think I'm here. Let me go here. Branch. Go to branch. So again, go three dot. Whichever branch I want. If I want to do in the main branch, I can simply go here. Okay, but I'm going to the branch, so I will do here. Now it is going to remove again. So there is unlock branch, I unlock, so it is getting, so it is got release. So this is the beauty of using the lock. And also there is another thing I want to mention is the branch. So basically, say for example this particular branch, that is a dev branch getting is got what do you call, deleted. How can I recover data? Let's say I want, before that let me show you here whatever option is there. First thing, I can do a pull request based on this branch. I can do a pull request. I can delete the branch. I can check the files. I can also see the history. And if you want to compare with two different branches also, I can do it from here also. And also there is a set as default branch. I have one, I can do so. And branch lock, as I told you, I have shown that. Branch policy also I have already shown you. Same thing, you can check the branch policies. Just now we have seen, right? So here in the branch policy, as I told you, how many reviewers you want to define and who can approve your code, everything, or whether you can approve your own code. Let's say I raise a PR or pull request, can I approve my own code? So this is normally it is, technically it is not, technically it is possible, but according to the standard policy, this thing, you should not be approving your own code because it has to be reviewed by some other person in your team members. So you can define the what is the minimum numbers. If you see here, allow requester to approve their own code changes. That means if I do this thing, I can raise PR, I can approve by myself. But this is not the best practice to do it. But yes, it is possible to do it. Okay, there are other changes also. Just go through this one. And as I told you, these all options are there. And this is what I was saying it. March type this thing, right? We have something called the basic. Normally we don't use it, and we have a squash, and we have a rebase, and rebase with the commit. So normally we can use the squash, creates a liner history by considering the source branch commit into a single new commit in the target branch. So this is normally in our project we are using the squash this thing. So if you want to rebase mean what is the difference rebase? Creates a liner history by replacing the source branch commit onto the target before a merge commit. Before any merge commit. Okay. And rebase means creates a semi-liner history by replacing the source branch commit onto the target, then create a merge commit. Again, new commit is going to create. That means if you're using a rebase, it is going to create another new commit ID for you. Okay, so normally in our project right now we are using this class merge type. Okay, so if you asking somebody in your interview also what is a merging type you are using like this thing mean, you can mention like something like that squash branch. Why we are using mean, you can just go through this also once, understand it, and you can just compare it this thing. Okay, then also we have build validations. If you want to add also, right now we don't have anything. If you want to define any policy or manual record policy, so there's so many everything is there. So this is also possible. And then security, I think I have already shown you the security. Now as I told you, this is a, you can see the project administrator. So this person can do anything, or this person has the permissions. You can add them also. So what we'll do, one day we'll sit here, we'll try to basically explore with the Azure DevOps portal only. One day we'll spend some time. But yeah, for now, just this much we'll see how we can log this thing. Yeah, then we'll go back to the here. And now last thing I will show you how we can delete the branch and then we can restore it. So let me go here. Say for example, this is a branch. Now this is a dev branch. It is not lock mode. I will delete this branch. But before that, in order to delete the branch, I need to know the branch name. If you do not know the branch name or if you do not remember the branch name, then you cannot recover the branch which you deleted. Okay. So say for example, this branch that is a dev branch. I know branch name as dev. So I will simply delete now. There is an option, right? Deleted. Now yes, deleted. Permanently it is deleted. Now it is a cannot be deleted, has policy. Okay, okay. This policy mean maybe I have defined somewhere. Maybe it is a based on the this thing. I will create another projects from which I have, because I defined some policy. Let me select random one, other projects where I do not have policy maybe. Oh, I don't have here also. Project Pro, I will use this one. Sorry. Let me show you this one. Oh, let's say okay. Okay, now I have only one branch. Let me create new branch. I will create new branch from here. Now I can create a branch name as something like a dev, something. This is based on the master branch. Okay, now I created it. So now say for example, now if you go to a branch again, I can see the branch now, right? So let me delete this branch now. I will delete this one because I know branch name as a dev branch. Yes, so it says branch the call as a dev will be permanently deleted. Are you sure you want to proceed it? Yes, I want to. So as you can see right now, it is no more. It is been deleted right now, right? How can I delete? How can I restore this one? So to restore the branch from the Azure, it's very simple. So what I can do is you can go all, or I can go to here also. Or as soon as you type here, there is a button called search, like here, right? Search branch name. You simply click here. No matter which one you do, automatically it will take you to all if you search it. Now we are in the main tab. I can just simply type out dev branch. Now you see automatically if you see here deleted branches, that is called as a dev, deleted by who? Hriyen. And when it is now. So deleted one. So everything you will be able to see. Now this is a one way of deleting. Now, but if you say example, if you don't know the branch name, let's say instead of dep, you given something like a deps. So if you notice that right now no active branch found, that means the Git will not able to track or understands unless the name is mess. So this is why the branch name you always need to remember. So if you remember the branch name, you can recover it. If you don't know the branch name, then you can't do that. You can't recover. If it is a small mistake also, like small spelling also, for example, instead of dep, if I put something des, something like that, it not be coming. So always use the same name. So yeah, so example, I want to restore now. There is a three dot, come there, there is an option to restore branch. As soon as I do here, now if I go to mains also, I could see that the branch which is deleted. Okay, this is how we can do that. Okay, so yeah, so thanks once again, thanks for joining. I will stop the recording for now. We'll wind up the session. Yeah, have a nice day.